Dixie Belle Paint fans, how are you today? It is Melissa from the Top Drawer RVA coming to you live here on the Top Drawer RVA page because it is Wednesday and I'm going to try and be live here every Wednesday around 3 p.m. to sit on the floor, hang out and play with some paint. So welcome, a little early, but not gonna lie, I'm anxious to get this job done because this job does not belong to me. This is my daughter's paint job that we're going to be working on today, and she is very anxious to get a hold of what we're doing today and get packing. So welcome. If you're new joining me for the first time, I am a Dixie Belle brand ambassador. I am an artist and I'm the owner here at the Top Drawer RVA located in Richmond, Virginia. And I like to paint wild and crazy things. And believe it or not, today we're going to be painting a suitcase. Yes, a suitcase. So why am I painting a suitcase, and what the heck are you doing? Well, I am going to be doing a brand collaboration soon with a company called Level 8. They make these amazing, super high-end suitcases. And because I have to get this done, I thought, why not just paint it live and we can sit and do some hand painting together. So I have two beautiful suitcases sitting here on the floor, and we are going to hand paint a nautical shark theme on the top of the suitcase, and I'm going to show you exactly how I do it from step one to done. So today's going to be a little Bob Ross style for painting a suitcase. All right? If I don't see your question or comment as it runs by, you can still drop it in below and I will answer it later if I happen to miss it when it's rolling by the screen. Okay, so if you're looking for the suitcases, FYI, that I'm doing today, this is not part of the brand deal. This is just me painting because I have to get this done. But these are Level 8 luggages. They are very high end. They're very fancy pants, and they're super bold and colorful. And I just happen to have yellow. So we're going to aim the camera down. You're going to see what I'm up to today because this is it. Are you ready? Let's see if we can get you down where you need to go. So this is the top of the suitcase, okay? This is a very large suitcase, this one right here. This is a suitcase my daughter's dying to get her hands on because we're going on a family vacation next week and she wants to have this one as her own because, of course, why would I get to keep what I am doing, right? I have to give it away to her. So this is 100% hand painted so far. Here I am recording the entire process, but we're going to do some today. This is plastic. Very hard shell plastic, okay? So the white part that you're seeing is my bonding boss because you can't just paint on top of this plastic and expect it to stick. It's not going to stick. You need to prepare yourself first with some bonding boss, and we're going to do that together. So I traced out some shapes and then I painted on my bonding boss, which is the white that you're seeing. And then I came in yesterday and started hand painting until my back hurt and I couldn't do it anymore. So we have the nautical theme for my daughter because this is her case and she's obsessed with sharks, and we are going somewhere tropical next week, so this fits her vibe. We have whale sharks, we have a nurse shark, stingray, sea turtle. It's going to be another whale shark over here in the corner, and then of course a hammerhead shark down here at the bottom. So let's talk about how to prepare a case for paint, because obviously you can't just jump in and paint it like this, right? I'm going to move this one out of the way, this really large and in charge suitcase, and I'm going to bring out the small one that we have here. So I have taken this one, which she's ever so nicely, my daughter decided that I can keep one because it's smaller and she doesn't want it. She wants the big one. And this is already been traced on. I'm going to hold it up a little closer so you can see. Can you see my pencil? There's pencil marks on the front of this suitcase. They're very faint. You're not going to be able to see it very well. But I'm going to show you how I'm going to prepare this. We're going to do a couple of these shapes, and then we'll flip over to the hand painting, okay? So what you need to prepare this case for paint, this is one of Dixie Belle's artisan brushes, and this is Bonding Boss. Bonding Boss is your gripping primer for anything slick or shiny. This is also going to help you with bleed through, which we're not going to have on this case, but this will allow you to get this case ready for paint. I don't want it to drip on there if I'm not ready. Let's turn this little thing over. Okay. No spilling today. No spilling. So I'm going to use this brush from the artisan kit, okay? And we're just going to trace in these shapes. Now, ideally with Bonding Boss, you should be waiting approximately 24 hours before you paint, so I'm going to be waiting till tomorrow, and you should have a full even 2 coats onto your project before you start. So I only did one. I'm not gonna lie. I didn't do 2 coats. I did 1 coat and then came back in and added kind of like a secondary coat over top of the plan for this piece. But I didn't do like full 2 even coats. So I scratch test the paint that I painted on yesterday, and it's not scratching off. I do plan on sealing it. To seal it, I'm going to be spraying a polyacrylic on top of the entire top of the case. And spraying on my finish should protect it. Is this something that is probably going to last forever? I'm going to go with probably no. Like, it's luggage, right? We know how luggage is treated at the airport. We've seen them throw, I mean, I've seen them. A couple years ago when we went to Dominican Republic, we had a window seat that we could see the entire loading and unloading of the suitcases, which was fun because you were like, oh, let's watch and see, make sure they load ours up. We'll watch. And I could see them throwing, like throwing suitcases, throwing luggage. So I don't think they were being very careful. So do I think that this will last forever? Probably no. Do I think that this is a fun idea that's making my daughter insanely happy for a trip to our tropical vacation next week? Yes, this is going to make her very happy, and she is going to be excited to carry her theme luggage, right? Sorry, I had to literally tape my phone to the camera stand because it was being difficult and not holding. So let me Amazon a new camera stand to my house ASAP. Okay, so why am I putting Bonding Boss here? Well, I want my paint to stick, right? This is going to be an actually used suitcase. I'm going to use this suitcase on our trip. So I need to know that my paint is going to adhere well. And if I paint directly on that plastic, I take the chance of it rubbing off, and I don't want that. How are we doing? You good? Everybody throw me some hearts, show me some love, tell me you can hear me. I can see the little green thing rotating, but somebody say that you can hear my voice. I'll wait, because otherwise I'll just exit and come back in. Becky, Charlene, Alice, somebody hear me? I see some thumbs up. That means you can hear me. All right, I'm going to keep going. So what am I doing now? Putting down this Bonding Boss to make sure that my paint will stick. We're going to paint in a couple of these animals, and then we're going to actually switch over to painting. I'm going to show you how I hand paint. So this part doesn't have to be perfect. I'm just kind of doing a base of where this is going to stick, because I will be eventually painting over top. This is the little turtle. We have manta rays, stingrays, turtles. We have sharks, crabby crabs. All the cutie little creatures from under the sea. So my job off camera will be to come back in and try and do a second coat to make sure I can cover this up as much as possible. We'll do one more animal and then we'll switch over to actual painting on the other suitcase. Have you painted luggage before? Is this something somebody's done before? I know my friend Nate has done this. Nate, I saw do a video, and I don't know if he actually took his luggage with him on a trip. He's on a trip right now, but Nate painted some suitcases, and he had a cutie little video not too long ago. And you guys know I paint vintage suitcases, but those are not usable. So this is actually going to be used. We're gonna see how well my Bonding Boss and painting holds up, because you never know. I'm gonna need a tinier paintbrush for that little tail, right there. Okay, so first thing is, when you're painting on plastic or metal or glass, is to use 2 even coats of Bonding Boss, okay? Bonding Boss is your gripping primer for anything slick or shiny. So let's pretend that we're gonna switch these cases out. Pretend I painted this whole entire thing. Again, if you're just tuning in, this is level 8 suitcases. I'm going to be doing a brand collab with them in the next couple of weeks. And I have to paint. So why not paint live where you all can join me, right? There we go. Okay, so we have hand painted. This is whale shark, sea turtle, nurse shark, manta ray. We need to work on this guy today and this guy today. So let's start over here. On the floor, I grabbed some Dixie Belle paint. We have Stormy Seas, In the Navy, Bunker Hill, a little coffee bean, and some gray that I can't remember what I grabbed. I'm going to take out one of my smaller brushes because this shark is kind of tiny. So in the Artisan brush kit, you have these tinier brushes that have like a more of a sharper point. They're really good for wash and wear. I use these a lot. Let's take this one. Now, if I remember correctly, I did this nurse shark over here. She wanted it shadowy. I think she said she wanted this one more brown. So let's mix in some Gravel Road with this lighter gray color. I think it's Manatee Gray. And can you see my little shark over here? Do I need to move you a little bit closer? I think you can see. I'm just gonna come in here on this little hammerhead. And I'm gonna very gently, we're gonna be Bob Ross today. I'm gonna very gently paint in the shadow of the base. So by painting in this base before we kind of like get started on the detail work, this is going to allow you to get in close to the edge and cover up all that white bonding boss. Anybody else have kids that are obsessed with sharks? I think between my 3 children, I've watched every single shark video that there is. Shark Week was a big week at my house. Shark Week was always very popular here at this house. Okay. So I'm just painting over top of the bonding boss. And it's not going to be perfect around the edges because the suitcase has kind of like this variegated top. This is a super durable hard plastic suitcase. So you can kind of see those little dots. I can water my paint down. I do have a cup on the floor with water for my brushes. So if I water the paint a little bit, I should be able to get closer to the edges a tiny bit more. I almost wish that the Dixie Belle Artisan brushes had one brush that was even more sharp. Just like a little bit finer, because I find myself reaching for one and I don't have it. Like I need a definite fine edged brush. But this tip is fairly pointy, and I wash and reuse these brushes a ton. So once we get the base down, I can start to add some detail to my hammerhead shark. So this is not a furniture painting video today. This is just going to be me doing what needs to get done before vacation. And part of that is painting a suitcase, because don't we all add extra things like painting a suitcase onto our schedule before we take a trip? This is nuts. Yes, oh my gosh, a nail salon art brush. Like that would be the super, super pokey. That would be exactly what I need. How you doing, Tracy? Thanks for hanging out. All the paints I'm using today are Dixie Belle paint products. These are water-based, 0 VOCs, safe to use indoors around your pets. I did link in the description if anybody's looking to do any shopping. You can shop all of the products I'm using today, minus the suitcase. But if you want to send me a message, I can send you a link to these suitcases. Like I said, this is not part of the brand deal, but I have to get this done in order to do the brand deal. So part of it is painting 2 suitcases. Because originally I thought my kiddo would help me, but she does not want to paint. She just wants to judge my painting. She's good at that. She's good at judging and telling me the colors and the things that I'm doing wrong, most likely. Okay, so this little hammerhead It's pretty much filled in. So now I have to look at him and think, okay, what do I want to do? I want to darken a little bit. I'm going to grab and mix my colors, some of this in the navy. I want to add some shadows to kind of where his fins are. Because I feel like his body would be lighter, right? His fins would be darker because they're lower. But she said she definitely wants to keep that shark over here is like a blue shark. She wanted to keep this one a little bit more gray. And I do have some white. Where's my cotton? I'm currently surrounded by open paint cans and a thing of water on the floor. Probably not the best idea, but since my camera's being held up by 2 pieces of tape right now, this is how we roll. We're going to do it this way. So I want to lighten up where his body would have reflections from the sun coming in. And to be honest, he would have a huge fin at the top, but we can't really see the fin because we're looking at the aerial view. Okay, I'm going to just wash my brush off and come in with some of this coffee bean. I think the turtle's my favorite part so far. Isn't he cute? Super cute. I also tend to talk less when I do hand painting like this. There's something about having to talk out loud and do fine line painting. I don't know. I'm incapable. Okay, so I don't think I need to paint his fin on the top because the aerial view is not really going to show his fin, right? You can obviously tell he's a hammerhead though with his head. Oh, thanks Michelle for sharing. Okay, so now I'm going to wash my brush and we're going to move over to this giant whale shark, the whale shark. Let's move the camera back a tiny bit. And I'm doing all of this, like trying not to drop everything. Watching it live with me, honestly, I feel like this could be an interesting TV show because accidents happen. Cameras fall down. I've sat in paint. Once I had my window open and a bee flew in and hit me in the face. That's fun times. I was trying to be cool on camera when there's a bee on you. Anything could happen. Anything could happen. Okay, so let's fold over my napkin. Get my paint back over here. Let's work on this whale shark. I think I'm going to switch out my brush. I need a square brush. So this is the straighter square edge. Let's start with a nice bunker hill on this whale. Let's fill him in with the color and then we're going to add the shading and the dots as well. For those of you that have kids, this is a really fun thing to get them excited about vacation. I think letting them choose like a theme and then painting their luggage, how fun is that? Because my kiddo is more than old enough to know that vacation is coming. She just can't wait. So this is helping her helping her pass the time. Choosing all the animals that we were going to put on here. If you guys weren't here on camera, she would totally be sitting here telling me exactly how she wants these things painted. These creatures. So now we're going to paint a whale shark in here. I think I'm going to do some of him in the darker, in the navy as well. Just to start to add some dimension to the base. almost need to like turn my body so that I can get in close to this edge. Sometimes I paint things live for you all here. It's not the way I would paint if the camera was off, because I have to like contort myself half the time to get everything on camera working the way that everybody can see. Okay, I'm going to switch my brush out to a pointier brush for the tail for sure. I'm really curious to take pictures of this process, like before we go to the airport, what the suitcases look like, and then see how well they hold up. I know that they're going to work well because I tried to scratch some of the dried paint off and I was not successful. So I know that there's definitely some strength to what I'm doing, but like I said, airports, all kinds of crazy things happen at baggage claim. You never know. I've seen what they do. I've seen the throwing around of luggage. So it'll be a good test. I'm going to spray polyacrylic to seal these pieces. I think that it's going to be the strongest way to get them nice and tough. All right, so we've got our little whale. Let me take this thick brush and start to add some shading. So I want to add almost like a lighter stripe down the top. These whale sharks have like a pattern on them. I'm talking like y'all have seen a whale shark before. I've never seen a whale shark in real life, obviously, but with 3 children, I've watched a lot of Shark Week. And they have these really cool dots that go on them. So let's take some shading. And create a line. Okay, so this has to be darker because his fin is going to be deeper than his body. So I'm just going to shade a little bit of darkness on there. I'm going to do the same for the other one as well. And then I'm going to add, because ideally they have a big fin on the top as well, but you can't see it from the aerial view. And I don't want him to be exactly the same as the other one. Like the other whale shark over here should be a little bit different. So let's see. I think I'm going to add another fin down here because there's a fin at the top. I'm going off track here. We're getting a little crazy. And some more blue. Okay, he's cute. I like him. He's a little bit lighter than the other whale shark, but I think he has to be a little bit different. Let's add just a little bit more stripe on the top for where his big fin would be that you're not going to see. And even a little bit of white. And this is actually a really great way to practice painting too. Like if you weren't sure about how you're going to do something, an aerial view is kind of easier than painting in all the detail on a face, I'm not going to lie. Okay, so now we've kind of got his body laid out. I'm going to add those white dots. To add the white dots, I need to have a smaller brush, and I'm going to grab my cotton. So this is cotton. This brush is a bit smaller. I'm going to start at the top. There's these big white dots at the top of like their face, and then I'm going to grab a fan brush and stripe out his sides because whale sharks have like a little stripe on the side. told you we're getting Bob Ross in here today. Getting a little crazy. Little Bob Ross fun on a Wednesday afternoon. Don't make all the dots the same size. This is nature. You have to be a little bit creative. I actually thought about painting like bubbles on here as well, but that might be overkill. Okay, so now we've got his little body planned out. I'm gonna grab the fan brush. This is a fan brush. Can you see how it has those little fan edges? Hey Patty, how you doing? I'm gonna dip my paint just on my fan brush. See how it just touches the tip? So whale sharks have like these, oh my gosh, I already touched it. These little like lines on the side of their body coming up. And then we're gonna just dip on those lines. If I get any outside of the edge, I can easily get it off. A little bit of spit and polish there. Again, with the lines coming up the side. It's almost like they have these like tiger stripes, but they're not. They're just like a pattern. And then I really want to dot his face because they have more dots at the front. How do you think he's looking? Super cute, right? Super cute. Let's add some dots down here as well. Adorable, adorable. He's so cute. So that's one whale shark over here. That's one whale shark over here. We have our sea turtle. We have our hammerhead. And then what's hiding underneath here? I forget. I forget. Let's see. Let me dry off my brush first of all. Oh yeah, stingray. There's a stingray under there. I totally forgot what I painted. So stingray, nurse shark, whale shark, hammerhead, sea turtle, which is the cutest. He's my fave. Another whale shark, and now we have to do these little starfish. Now I asked the boss, aka my daughter, since this is hers, what color she wanted the starfish. If she wanted them like a tan versus the blue that we have on here, but she said stick with the blue. So I'm gonna go back to that little small brush that I have, and we're gonna go in, maybe what I'll do is I'll do a base of that gray first. After I do the gray base, we can see if we wanna add detail to them. So I'm not only a one-trick pony paint furniture. We can paint all the things. Furniture, luggage. I've painted walls, lots of walls. I gotta find things to keep it interesting. Gotta swap it up sometimes, otherwise stuff just gets a little boring, right? I love painting windows. I love painting art on windows, especially at Christmas. My daughter actually does a really great window, my back window. She takes her chalk pen and draws these gorgeous little houses and lights and snowflakes. It's adorable. I really wish she would have come and paint with me today. I asked her, but you know, 16 is not the age where they want to be on camera with their mom anymore. Maybe when she was little, not anymore. I could talk her into a lot of stuff when she was little, let me tell you. Now she's her own boss. Okay, so how are we liking that starfish? Should I do like dots on the starfish? Is this something, tell me your opinion. I don't think they should stay gray, right? Because that would be a little bit boring. I feel like they should have art on them, like some sort of dots or design maybe to kind of pull in the whale shark. How do we feel about that? I'll see. I see a lot of people watching. If you're a Dixie Belle retailer, you can say where your shop is from. I tell you to put your link, but you cannot, because I've had to take away the ability for people to post photos and comments as well as links, because some people can't play nice and they've ruined it for the rest of them. So you're more than welcome, though, if you're a retailer and you're tuning in, to drop it in where you're watching from, where your shop is located. I'd love for people to support our local Dixie Belle retailers. Okay, one more little star, and then we'll decide. So this is actually the bottom, and then coming up this way is the top. And this is all Dixie Belle colors on top of Bonding Boss. Which one's your favorite out of all the animals on this case? Do you have one that you love the best? I still think it's him. When I was painting him, I was like, oh no, I don't like this. But then once I finished it up and like I added the final touch, which was just a little bit of white on his eye, so cute. So cute. Okay, so what's the verdict for the not sun, what are these called? Starfish. What's the verdict for the starfish? Are we adding dots? Are we adding blue? Are we just going to add shading? Or how much are we going to zhuzh them up? Because we can't just leave them gray, right? We need to make them a little fancy. Let's see. What do I want to do? Let's mix in some stormy seas and see what happens. Maybe it's just the lines, like the shadowing, just to make them look a little bit more 3D. A little bit more blue in the bottom. That's cuter. He's already cuter. A little 3D. Can't just leave things one-dimensional. Adding a little bit more white, maybe. I have some white vanilla.